everyone, and thank you so much for joining me once again at the Art Life YouTube channel. Today I'm here to show you how to create an awesome shape robot and use some knowledge of geometric shapes, cutting and pasting skills to put together this awesome collage. So come with me and I'll show you how to do it. Now we're going to have a look at shapes. Shapes are all around us. Have a look around the room you're sitting in right now. Can you see any shapes that you recognize? Maybe there's a picture frame on the wall. Could be a square or a rectangle. Maybe there's a plate in front of you that's a circle. Shapes are everywhere, and today we're going to use our knowledge of shapes to create an artwork of a shape robot. Today's task, we're doing a collage, which means the main material you'll need is paper. Any type of paper will do for this task. You'll also need some scissors and glue to cut and paste with. And as an optional extra, you could use some markers for a background, and things around the house like foil or buttons could also help you with this task too. Let's get started, guys. The task today is all about shapes, geometric shapes. Geometric are the type of shapes that normally have straight lines like squares and rectangles. They're the ones that we learn about in maths class, just like that. So for my background today, I'm going to be using my knowledge of all the shapes that I know to create some big ones. Just have a practice at drawing them as best you can. We're going to create big ones. You can do some small ones, and just fill a piece of paper full of all the shapes that you know. Try to do this as neatly as you can, and you can use whatever you have at home. I'm using some texture markers, but you guys might choose to use whatever you have at home, and just create an interesting sort of shapy background like this one. What are some shapes that you can name? Have a look around you and see what type of shapes you might see. If you're finding it hard to create shapes on your own, you might choose to trace around some shapes like what I'm doing now with some things that you have around your home or classroom. You might even want to add lots of detail by drawing shapes inside shapes. So I'm using a piece of Zart Arts craft card. It's really great because it's really strong, and it's going to be able to hold all the paper that I'm going to be cutting and pasting onto it. But if all you guys have is a plain white piece of paper, that is completely fine as well. It will show up the colours really, really well. Otherwise, you might have some coloured paper that you'd like to draw on too. So I'm changing up what I'm doing. I'm making some thick shapes like these ones. You can change the lines that you're using. You could overlap your shapes like this and draw them over the top of each other. This part is all about having fun and thinking about what shapes you could choose. Remember though, when drawing your shapes, try to connect the lines together. For example, it's not a shape if the lines don't connect. This here is still a line. And until I connect these lines together like that, it doesn't become a shape. So once you've had a go at using some time to draw all the shapes that you know for your background, you can now grab your coloured paper. You might have coloured plain paper like this, you might have magazines, you might have newspaper. No matter what paper you have, you can use for this task, because what we're doing is creating something using basic geometric shapes, just like the ones we've drawn. But we're no longer going to draw them, we're going to cut and paste them. So what we're going to make today is a really cool shape robot. So we're going to have a go at creating a robot's head, a robot's body, some arms and legs, and then some details to bring it all together. So what colour should I use for the head? I'm going to use yellow. The first thing I'd like you to do is consider how big you would like your head to be, well, the robot's head to be. We want it to take up the top section of our page here, so we don't want it to be too small, but we probably want it to be about a third of our work. Notice I've drawn my shape, and now I'm cutting it as neatly as I can. Drawing the shape first will help us when cutting. Now, what shape have I cut? That's right, it's a square. You could either do a square or a rectangle, but I'm going to do the square here for my robot's head. Now you need to choose another color maybe for the body. I might go green today. So now I'm going to make a body. And again, I'm going to draw it so I know the type of size that I'm after. Today, I'm going to do a rectangle and cut my lines as straight as I can. The best cutting that I can do. There, is that looking good? Almost look like a robot? Now, robots have lots of different types of arms, they have lots of different types of legs, but today we're looking at shapes that are quadrilateral. That means shapes that have 4 sides. My rectangle here has 1, 2, 3, 4 sides, and so does my square. So I'm going to now have a go at creating a trapezoid, which is a type of shape that looks like this. It has straight top, and it has a parallel straight bottom, which is longer than the top. Then I have my diagonal lines connecting the two. Again, it's a shape that is a quadrilateral because it has 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. So I'm going to cut this out and I'm going to make that my arm, but I need 2 arms. So to make my life easier, what I'm actually going to do, and you could try this, I'm going to fold my paper in half. There. Now when I'm cutting as best I can, cutting both pieces, and ta-da! I have 2 quadrilateral trapezoid arms that are exactly the same, and I'm going to be able to stick them onto my robot just like that. Now, you could give your robot 2 legs, but today I'm going to give my robot 1 leg with a little wheel that he spins around and rolls around on. So I'm going to give him a yellow rectangle there, just like that. And for my circle, circles are tricky. So what I might do is actually trace around my circular thing here again. That's going to help me see the shape that I need and have a go at cutting along this line. Take your time when cutting, guys, because it will really make a difference with your outcome. If you rush, your artwork will probably look rushed. There. My robot's coming together now. He's starting to kind of look like a robot, but he does need some more details. But for now, I could probably stick the head, the body, the leg, and the 2 arms down before adding some details over the top. So I'm going to grab my glue, start gluing. Remember, when gluing, everybody, you need to use lots of glue so that all the sides of your artwork, the corners, stay down nice and flat. You might even need to add a little bit more glue to the edges here so that they stay down. There, that's my artwork so far. Hope yours looks a little bit different to mine and you've used your creativity to use the strategies I'm showing you, but not make it exactly the same as mine. I hope you're also enjoying doing some collage work, because that's exactly what we're doing now. So, what type of details do you think a robot needs? Well, at the moment he doesn't have a face. And when I imagine a robot, I imagine that he would have lots of beep, 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 beep buttons on his body. So, let's have a go at cutting out those. Now we do want 2 eyes, just like we needed 2 arms. So when I draw my rectangular shape here, this is for my eyes. I'm going to do the same thing as I did before. I'm going to fold my paper in half, like that. Then when I'm cutting, it means I only need to cut it once instead of twice. Hold them together and snip. There we go, 2 rectangular eyes. I might keep those little offcuts for something later. I've just done the same thing again to make the inside of his eyes. Maybe these little offcuts could act as buttons. What do you think? Art is all about adding detail. I think the more interesting an artwork is when you think to yourself, what can I add to my artwork to make it even better? Now, what about a mouth for our robot here? Robots don't have smiles necessarily like we do. They're normally made out of metal, and so maybe we might consider a bit of a speaker or a rectangular shape for the mouth. So I'll do that. You might choose to do something a little bit different, but that's going to be my robot's mouth. Something I've forgotten is some ears for my robot too. You might choose to do a little antenna coming out of the top of his head here. We still need to make some buttons and things like that. So collage is all about layering. You can put one circle there on top of another circle and then another circle on top, just to add more and more detail. Alright, so my second layer is done, but I'm just going to go back in and add even more detail, and you guys might choose to do the same. If you're confident cutting circles, you might cut some circles here out of things like foil to make him look like he's made out of metal. I'll show you. Foil, aluminium foil is quite delicate, so it is a little bit trickier to cut, but you just glue it in the same way. Just like that. I might add some more metallic kind of details with my foil. So I encourage you to keep going as long as you can to add as many details, cutting and sticking, lots of different things to make your robot really awesome.
I used my collage skills to make a shape robot. I hope you like it.
I could sit here and add detail all day long, but I'll finish off there.
So it's as simple as that. Guys, I really hope that you've enjoyed learning about shapes, thinking about how you can use shapes to put them together in an artwork, and using some layering and cutting skills to create an interesting and detailed collage. Please make sure that you subscribe below and give me a thumbs up if you liked the video and if you found it fun. I'd love to see if you've adapted this task or if you've had a go at creating it, so please make sure you tag me at ArtLife Art Lessons on Facebook so I can see what you've been doing at home. Thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you next time.